There is no accident in your presence here today. You have been led to this moment not by chance, but by the silent working of your own imagination. The world you see before you is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you have entertained. And now I tell you your time has come. You are no longer waiting. The millions you seek are already yours. But you must first accept this truth, not with the rational mind that questions and doubts, but with the inner knowing that what you claim within must manifest without. You do not need to chase, beg, or toil endlessly for your wealth. The moment you assume yourself to be the one who has it, the entire universe conspires to make it so. See yourself now as the one who has already received. Feel the weight of success pressing upon you, the joy of financial freedom coursing through your being. Walk through this world as one who has no lack, no need, no limitation. Because what you assume with conviction becomes the law of your life. If you persist in the feeling of already having, it is impossible for the world not to comply. Doubt not. Let no external appearance shake you. If today your senses tell you a different story, ignore them. Do not look at the world and say, I am still waiting. Instead, say to yourself boldly, it is done. Attitude is the bridge. Speak as if you are already in possession of your wealth. Say, I am so thankful for the millions flowing into my life. I feel the abundance surrounding me. Speak it until your words become flesh. The path is already laid before you. Your time is no longer in some distant place. Your time is no longer in some distant place. Your time is now. Walk in faith. Claim your millions within. And watch as the world bends to fulfill your assumption. Everything you see, touch, and experience in this world is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you have persistently held within. The reality you call real is, in truth, nothing but a shadow cast by your imagination. There is no outside force. There is no outside force shaping your life, no external authority deciding whether you will have wealth or struggle, no external authority deciding whether you will have wealth or struggle. The only determining factor is the state of consciousness you choose to occupy. The only determining factor is the state of consciousness you choose to occupy. The only determining factor is the state of consciousness you choose to occupy. You are not separate from your desires. The millions you seek are not something outside of you waiting for the right conditions to appear. The millions you seek are not something outside of you waiting for the right conditions to appear. The millions you seek are not something outside of you waiting for the right conditions to appear. They already exist, but they must first exist within you before they can take shape in the physical world. They already exist, but they must first exist within you before they can take shape in the physical world. They already exist, but they must first exist within you before they can take shape in the physical world. The moment you assume and accept wealth as your reality, the outer world must rearrange itself to mirror that assumption. The outer world must rearrange itself to mirror that assumption. There is no other way. The mistake many make is in believing that their imagination is simply a form of fantasy. The mistake many make is in believing that their imagination is simply a form of fantasy. The mistake many make is in believing that their imagination is simply a form of fantasy, an escape from reality. But this is the great misunderstanding. Imagination is the only reality because it is the source of all things. Imagination is the only reality because it is the source of all things. Imagination is the only reality because it is the source of all things. Everything that exists, every building, every piece of technology, everything that exists, every building, every piece of technology, every fortune ever made, first existed in someone's imagination before it took form. First existed in someone's imagination before it took form. Nothing comes into being unless it is first claimed in the unseen. Nothing comes into being unless it is first claimed in the unseen. So what does this mean for you? It means that you must assume the state of the millionaire now. It means that you must assume the state of the millionaire now before your senses confirm it. You must walk as though wealth is already yours. You must walk as though wealth is already yours. Speak as though you already have it. And think from the position of one who possesses limitless abundance. If you continue to believe that you must work towards it, if you continue to believe that you must work towards it, if you continue to believe that you must work towards it, or that it is something you may have one day, you will forever push it into the future. live in the end. See yourself in possession of the millions. See yourself in possession of the millions. What does your life look like now that you have it? What does your life look like now that you have it? Where do you live? How do you feel? The clearer you define this reality within, the faster it solidifies in the external world. Do not concern yourself with the how or when. Do not concern yourself with the how or when. The bridge of incidents will unfold naturally. The bridge of incidents will unfold naturally in ways you cannot predict. But that is not your work. Your work is to hold the assumption firmly. Your work is to hold the assumption firmly, unshaken by any contradiction in the present moment. Doubt is the only thing that delays the process. Doubt is the only thing that delays the process. If you look at your current circumstances, and allow them to dictate your belief, you have made the outer world your master instead of the servant it was meant to be. Instead of the servant it was meant to be, the physical world only reflects. The physical world only reflects. It does not create. To change the reflection, you must change what is projected from within. Your millions are already here, waiting for you to accept them. The moment you embody the feeling of being wealthy, the moment you claim it as your truth, the world must comply. The law is simple. What you assume and persist in must harden into fact. What you assume and persist in must harden into fact. So, assume wisely, persist faithfully, and let the world conform to the reality, you have created within. The greatest deception in this world is the belief that time separates you from your desires. You have been conditioned to think in terms of waiting, striving, and earning. Believing that what you seek is always in the future, just out of reach. But this is an illusion. The truth is that there is no separation between you and your desires, except the belief that they are not yet yours. Whoa! The moment you claim something is true within, it is yours, for creation is finished, and everything already exists in the unseen. When you desire wealth, you are not creating it from nothing. You are simply becoming aware that everything already exists in another dimension of reality. It is not something that must be built over time, achieved through struggle, or brought forth by external conditions. Your millions exist now, but they can only become visible when you assume the state of already having them. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law by which all things come into being. Most people delay their blessings by constantly acknowledging what is possible. They believe that their bank account, job, or circumstances dictate what is possible. But the outer world is just a reflection of past assumptions. If you continue to dwell on the lack, if you keep telling yourself that wealth is coming one day, you are unknowingly pushing it away. You must take possession now, not tomorrow, not next year, but in this very moment. How do you do this? Now close your eyes and imagine yourself already in possession of great wealth. Feel the joy, the relief, the confidence that comes with knowing you have more than enough. Hear the conversations you would have. Experience the ease with which you move through life. This is not daydreaming. This is the creative act. When you persist in this state, it must become your external reality. For the world cannot help what you are conscious of being. Doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. The mind conditioned by time will ask, but where is it? Why hasn't it appeared yet? These questions keep you bound to the illusion that you are separate from your desire. The truth is that your assumption is already working. The unseen forces are moving, aligning circumstances, creating the path. You are stepping out of the state of having and back into the state of waiting. There is nothing to wait for. Your wealth exists now, and it belongs to you the moment you accept it. You must not concern yourself with how it will come or when it will appear. Trust in the law. That which you assume and persist in must become fact. When you embrace this truth and live from it, the promise is now. Claim it. The greatest barrier between you and your desires is the need to control how and when they appear. You have been taught to believe that success comes through effort, strategy, and external action. But this is a misunderstanding of how reality works. Your wealth, your abundance already exists, but it cannot reach you when it will come and when it will happen. The moment you let go of these questions and rest in the certainty of already having, the unseen forces will move in ways beyond your comprehension to bring it to you. The mind, conditioned by logic and limitation, wants a step-by-step process. It seeks reassurance, asking, what do I need to do? How will this happen? But these questions arise from doubt. and doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. When you truly understand what is happening, you will no longer need to ask how or when. You will know that once you claim something in consciousness, it must appear in your world. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that nature is at work even though you cannot see the process unfolding beneath the soil. The same principle applies to your desires. The moment you assume yourself that the process has begun, but if you constantly question whether it is working, if you look around and say, I don't see anything changing, you are uprooting the seed before it has a chance to grow. The unseen forces, those greater laws that govern all of existence, will move in ways you cannot predict. Your job is not to force the path, but to remain faithful to the end result. Your millions could come through an unexpected opportunity or a sequence of events you could never have orchestrated, but these events cannot unfold if you insist on micromanaging the process. The moment you let go, you open the door for the universe to work on your behalf. Detachment is not about giving up, it is about trusting completely. It means releasing the need to manipulate circumstances and instead resting in the knowing that what you have assumed must come to pass. It means walking through life as if your wealth was not here, not anxiously searching for proof, but living in the confidence of already having it. If you find yourself doubting, remind yourself, I do not need to know how or when. My only work is to assume the feeling of already having and trust the unseen to arrange the details. The moment you detach from the process, things will begin to shift. Paths will open, people will be drawn to you, and circumstances will adjust in ways you could not have imagined. Trust this. Let go of control. Let the unseen forces move mountains on your behalf, for they will, if only you allow them. Wealth is not something you pursue, it is something you embody. The moment you believe wealth is outside of you, something to chase, it will always remain just out of reach. But when you understand that wealth is from striving to receiving, you do not become wealthy through effort alone. You become wealthy by assuming the identity of one who already possesses it. Everything in your life is a reflection of the state of consciousness you consistently occupy. If you see yourself as someone who is struggling, if you speak about lack, if you constantly affirm that money is difficult to obtain, then your world will reflect that belief. The moment you assume the identity of a wealthy person, not in arrogance, but in certainty, your external world will have no choice but to conform. Ask yourself, how does a millionaire think? How do they carry themselves? What are their daily habits, their thoughts, their actions? They do not walk with hesitation. They move with confidence. They do not speak about lack. They do not look at price tags with fear. They know money is a resource that flows to them effortlessly. If you truly believe that wealth is already yours, your entire demeanor will shift. Start by adjusting the way you speak. Words shape reality, for they reveal the beliefs you hold. Stop saying, I can't afford this, or I wish I had more money. Instead, affirm money flows to me easily, or I always have more than enough. Even if your external circumstances seem unchanged, hold firm in this new language, for it is planting the seeds of a different reality. Then shift the way you walk. Confidence is a sign of wealth. A wealthy person does not rush in desperation. They move with certainty, knowing that everything they desire is already theirs. They move deeply and embody the presence of one who has already achieved success. The world responds not to what you wish, but to what you are. And you must become it internally before it manifests externally. Next, align your thinking. Wealthy individuals do not dwell on problems, they focus on solutions. They do not see obstacles as roadblocks, but as stepping stones to greater abundance. When faced with financial challenges, ask yourself, how would a millionaire handle this? And act accordingly. Instead of shrinking in fear, step forward in faith, knowing that you have already won. Your external world is simply a mirror of the state you persist in. If you continuously occupy the mindset of one who already has millions, the world must arrange itself to match that assumption. This is not theory, it is law. Let go of the belief that wealth is something distant, but something real. Assume it now. Live as though it is already yours, and reality will reshape itself to prove you right. You are not waiting to become wealthy, you already are. Walk, speak, and think accordingly. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is persistence. What you assume to be true, what you repeatedly claim within, must by law manifest in your outer world. But the mistake most people make is abandoning their assumption too soon. They look around, see no immediate evidence, and let doubt creep in. Doubt is the only enemy. It is the force that keeps you bound to your old reality, preventing the new from taking form. You must understand that the world you see is simply a reflection of past thoughts, past beliefs, past assumptions. If you have spent years believing in struggle, you will be able to change your time even after you change your assumptions. But that does not mean your new reality is not forming. The unseen forces are at work, arranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, shifting the very fabric of your existence. The only thing that can stop this process is your own impatience, your own wavering in belief. Your only task is to persist until it hardens into fact. No matter what the outer world shows you, hold firm in your inner assumptions. If your bank account still shows lack, ignore it. If circumstances seem unchanged, persist. The world has no choice but to conform to your dominant state of consciousness, but you must remain faithful to it. Many people give up just before the breakthrough. They assume wealth, they feel it, they begin to see small changes. But then a challenge arises and they fall back into fear, into worry, into doubt. They let the external world dictate their inner state instead of understanding that their inner state is what dictates the external. This is why persistence is everything. How long must you persist? Until it is real, until the outer world bends to match your assumption. It does not matter how long it takes. What matters is that you do not waver, you do not check for evidence, you do not question, you do not seek validation from the world. You remain firm in the knowing that what you have assumed is already yours. This is the secret. Not wishful thinking, not hoping, not trying. It is knowing and persisting in that knowing until it takes form. Doubt delays, fear repels, but persistence creates. Hold your vision and reality will be forced to conform. It is law. Gratitude is the final key that seals your reality. When you are truly grateful, you confirm that you already possess what you desire. You do not beg for it, nor do you wonder if it will come. You know it is yours. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is the ultimate act of faith. It is the silent yet powerful declaration that you have already received, and in that confirmation, the arrival of your desire into the physical world. Most people express gratitude only after they receive something. But this is backward thinking. Gratitude must come before the manifestation, not after. If you wait to be grateful only when you see evidence, then you are still operating from doubt. You are still assuming that what you want is separate from you. But when you are grateful in advance, you are stepping into the state of already having, already being, and when you persist in that state, the world must rearrange itself to prove you right. Many people unknowingly delay their blessings because they are too focused on when and how their desire will come. They keep checking, worrying, questioning, but gratitude dissolves all of that. The moment you step into gratitude, you release the need to control. You are no longer concerned with the how because you already know it is yours. This trust creates the perfect conditions for manifestation. Gratitude is allowing unseen forces to move without resistance. Gratitude also shifts your focus from lack to abundance. When you dwell on what you don't have, you amplify that reality. But when you focus on what you do have, even if it is only in imagination, you align yourself with more abundance. You train your mind to see opportunities, to recognize wealth, to expect success, and as you persist in this awareness, it must externalize. Each morning, before you even open your eyes, affirm thank you for the millions that are already mine. Feel the joy as if it has already happened. Walk through your day in that energy, knowing that it is unfolding perfectly. Let gratitude be your proof that your reality is already shifting. This is not wishful thinking as law. You do not receive and then give thanks, you receive. The moment you make gratitude your default state, you step into the life that was always meant for you. It is already yours. Everything you desire already exists. The wealth, the success, the abundance, it is not something you must chase, beg for, or force into being. It is something you must claim. Everything you exist in assuming must become your experience. Time is an illusion. The moment you accept your wealth in consciousness, it is already yours. You do not need to know how or when. Your only task is to trust. Live in the state of already having, think and walk as one who possesses millions, and persist until the world bends to match your inner conviction. Doubt is the only enemy, and gratitude is the final seal that confirms your reality. When you are grateful in advance, you accelerate the arrival of all you desire. Now step forward with certainty. The wealth you seek is not in some distant future, it is here now. Assume it, feel it, give thanks for it, and watch as it materializes in ways you could never have imagined. Your time has come, you will have millions. Thank you. Close your eyes and imagine with me, not tomorrow, not next year, but now, right now. What if everything you've been praying for, longing for, and working toward had already happened? Would you still walk the same? Would your tone still sound uncertain? Would your shoulders still slump in quiet worry? Or would you rise with the calm strength of one who knows they've already arrived? You see, the world will never give you permission to believe. That is something you must grant yourself. The moment you begin to act, not from desperation or doubt, but from fulfillment, you activate the unseen. You shift your identity, and when identity changes, reality must come. You are not here to chase anything. You are here to reveal who you already are. The moment you feel yourself to be the one who has already received, you cross an invisible threshold. No doors need to be knocked on. No opportunities chased. You become the magnet. The evidence flows to you, not because you asked louder, but because you believe deeper. Proof is the echo of belief, and belief is the seed of all becoming. You must walk, speak, decide, and breathe as one who knows this is my time. Every second spent doubting is a second lived in delay. Every moment spent assuming the victory is already yours shortens the distance between thought and thing. And let me tell you this truth. Time bends to the one who no longer waits, so drop the someday, release the if only. Abandon the idea that it is far off, or that you are unworthy, or that you are not ready. You always have been. Your only job now is to become the version of yourself who no longer waits. Because the truth is simple. Your time has come, and the world has been waiting for you to realize it. The moment you assume it is yours, you begin the unseen process of making it so. This is not poetic language or hopeful thinking. It is law. Assumption is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between thought and reality. It is the silent architect of your world, shaping circumstance not with noise or force, but with quiet conviction. When you assume something to be true, regardless of what your senses report, you impress that truth upon the deeper part of your consciousness. And this inner impression, like a seed planted in fertile soil, must bring forth after its kind. Most people wait for outer confirmation before they dare to believe. They wait for signs, for evidence, for applause. But life doesn't work like that. Outer reality is always the effect, never the cause. It is the mirror, not the source. And just as a mirror can never smile first, your world can never reflect a state you haven't first embodied within. Assuming something is already yours isn't about fantasy. It's about shifting your identity. It's about becoming the person who already possesses what they once hoped to receive. You don't assume to trick the universe, you assume to align with it. You don't fake confidence, you embody it. And from that embodiment, things begin to move. Assumption is an act of spiritual possession. You lay hold of the unseen by declaring, this is who I am now, not who I will be, not who I might become if everything works out, but who I am now. The very moment you adopt this inner stance, the world around you starts to rearrange itself. Not always instantly, but inevitably. The delay never means denial. It only means your assumption is still maturing. But the work is not in watching for results. The work is in remaining faithful to the feeling. The unseen process you begin with assumption is delicate and exact. It does not respond to force, but to faith. You are not asked to push or strive or manipulate conditions. You are asked to accept that what you have imagined fully, vividly, and emotionally is already real in the unseen realm. Your persistence in that feeling is what brings it into form. You may not know how it will happen. You may not even see a single logical step between your current situation and the fulfillment of your assumption. That's not your concern. The how belongs to higher intelligence. Your role is to sustain the feeling of already being there. Live from it. Speak from it. Make decisions as if it were already true. And you'll begin to notice something strange. People will treat you differently. Doors will open. Ideas will flow. And events will conspire. Not because you forced them to, but because your world must reflect the self you are being. There is no power greater than assumption rightly used. It is not arrogance. It is alignment. When you walk in the assumption that it is already done, the world cannot help but comply. For the world is not outside you, it is within you, reflecting your every dominant belief. So choose wisely, assume boldly, ask quietly, because the moment you assume it is yours, you are no longer waiting for the future. You have already arrived. Your feeling is the secret signal. It is the invisible force that whispers to the universe, this is my truth. And the universe being impersonal and exact, responds not to what you say, not to what you hope for, but to what you feel to be real. The feeling of already done is not a mood you temporarily enact. It is the signal, the vibration, the stamp of your inner world, sent out with precision and certainty. When you feel that something is already yours, even in the absence of physical evidence, you are declaring its reality in the only place that matters, your consciousness. Everything begins in the unseen. Every change, every manifestation, every shift in your outer world first takes shape in the realm of feeling. It is your internal emotional state that tells creation what to produce. Thought alone is not enough. You can repeat affirmations and visualize endlessly. But if your feeling contradicts your words or pictures, it is the feeling that will win. Why? Because your feeling is honest. It cannot be faked. It is the purest reflection of who you believe yourself to be right now. When you dwell in the feeling of already done, you are not trying to get anything you have already received. And from that assumption, you move differently. You no longer ask whether it will happen. You know it already has. You are no longer impatient or doubtful because you understand the order of things. The feeling comes first. The manifestation follows. You are not waiting to believe because it showed up. You believe and so it must show up. This is not imagination run wild. It is the divine order of life. Everything in your world is responding to you. Not your words, not your effort, but the vibration of your state. And your state is determined by what you consistently feel. That's why the moment you can truly feel something as real, you begin the process of its arrival. Not because you forced it. You already experienced this. Think back to a time when you just knew something was going to happen and it did. Perhaps it wasn't logical or even likely, but your inner conviction was so strong, so saturated with emotion, that it had no choice but to come to pass. That wasn't coincidence. That was your feeling sending a signal. So you must train yourself to feel differently, not based on your current conditions, but based on your chosen outcome. You must learn to feel successful before the money comes, to feel loved before the relationship appears, to feel healthy before the body shows signs. This is the creative act. This is how you become the cause, not the effect. And the beautiful secret is this. When you sustain the feeling long enough, your outer world conforms. It cannot do otherwise. The people, opportunities, resources all begin to organize themselves to reflect your inner claim, because the world is not separate from you. It is you pushed out. So the work is simple, though not always easy. Feel it now, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not when the evidence appears. Feel it now, because the moment you do, the universe begins moving, not in confusion, but with clarity toward the version of reality you have already claimed with your heart. And in that moment, creation is complete. You must live from the end. This is the great key. Not from the middle, not from the struggle, not from the hopeful waiting, but from the end where the desire is already fulfilled. To live from the end is to embody the version of yourself who already has what they once sought. It is not about pretending. It is about claiming. You are not trying to get there. You are there. You do not wish for it. You walk in it. When you hope, you place your desire in the future. When you beg, you confirm you do not yet have. But when you live from the end, you collapse time. You pull the future into the present and say, this is who I am now. It does not matter what the senses say. It does not matter what the world looks like. The truth is not out there. It is within you. And when you persist in that inner truth, your outer world cannot help but bend to reflect it. The world is only echoing your state of being. If you feel lack, it will give you more lack. If you feel separation from your desire, it will continue to stay apart from you. But if you feel the satisfaction of having already received, if you move through your day as though nothing is missing, everything begins to move. Opportunities reveal themselves. People show up and events align, not because you forced anything, but because you aligned yourself with the outcome. To live from the end is to change the script. Instead of reacting to life, you become the writer. You no longer ask, will it happen? You affirm, it already has. And you let your thoughts, your words, your decisions, and your actions flow from that certainty. You no longer wait for signs, you become the sign. You are the creator. You are the creator. This is not arrogance, it is surrender. You are surrendering the need to control, the need to prove, the need to be reassured. You rest in the unseen truth, and from that rest comes great power. When you move from the end, you speak differently, you walk differently. You are not swayed by appearances because you know they are temporary. What is real is what you have claimed in consciousness. Living from the end means being emotionally at home, in the state of fulfillment. You feel the joy now. You feel the confidence now. You feel the peace now. Because you are no longer chasing, you are remembering. You are remembering who you are and what is already yours. The mistake most make is thinking they have to earn it, prove it, or wait for it. But the only real requirement is to become it internally. Once you do, the outer must follow. It has no choice. Reality reflects the dominant assumption. An assumption, when lived out through feeling and action, becomes fact. So don't wait. Don't delay your peace. Don't put your joy on hold until something happens. Speak from the end now. And as you do, the distance between you and your desire dissolves. Not through effort, but through identity. You must live, move, and breathe as if it's already yours. Because in truth, it is. Time waits for belief. Your appointed time, your moment of fulfillment, your so-called breakthrough. It is not hidden somewhere in the future, waiting to arrive by date or deadline. It is not something written on a calendar, circled in red, ticking its way toward you. No, your time begins the moment your belief becomes unshakable. When you no longer look to the outside for proof, when you no longer ask if it's working or when it will show up, but instead live as though it already has, that is the moment your time begins. Most people lie backward. They wait for signs to believe. They wait for results to feel confident. They wait for permission to know it's possible. But life does not work like that. The world is not waiting to prove something to you. It is waiting to respond to you. And it does not respond to your effort. It responds to your belief. Not the surface level belief of words or wishes, but the deep, settled knowing within that says, this is mine, I am it, I have it now. The moment your belief becomes firm, the world shifts. You may not see it right away, but it begins. Invisible movements take place. Doors that were once closed begin to loosen. People you've never met begin thinking of you. Situations rearrange. Circumstances conspire. Not because time passed, but because belief ignited. You see, time is not the master. Belief is. Time follows consciousness. It bends to match the inner stage you live in. If you believe something is far away, time will stretch it endlessly. But if you believe it is already yours, time will contract and bring it near. Not because you forced it, but because your belief declared it so. And belief is not about pretending. It's not a mental trick or a forced mantra. It is a state of being. It is the quiet inner certainty that does not waver, even when everything on the outside appears the same. It is the refusal to doubt, not because you see the evidence, but because you no longer need it. You have seen it clearly within, and that is enough. Many ask, when will it happen? But the real question is, when will I believe? Because the timing of your desire is not in the stars, it is in your hands. It begins the moment you stop asking and start knowing, the moment you stop hoping and start assuming. That shift, subtle but powerful, is what sets everything in motion. There is no destiny that forces you to wait endlessly. There is no cosmic delay keeping you from what is already yours in spirit. There is only belief, either delayed or accepted. And when belief is accepted fully, wholly, and without contradiction, your world catches up with it. So if you are still waiting, ask yourself, do I truly believe? Or am I just hoping it will come one day? Because belief lives in the now. It does not speak in future tense. It says, I am. And when you live from that I am, time responds not slowly, but faithfully. Not with resistance, but with obedience. Your time begins with your belief. Make it unshakable. And watch how fast time obeys. You cannot fake faith. Faith is not a show you put on. It is not a smile you wear or words you rehearse. Faith is not about pretending everything is fine while inside you crumble with doubt. True faith is alignment. Complete inner agreement between what you think, how you feel, and how you act. The world responds to that alignment because it senses what is real, not what is forced. You may speak the right words, you may visualize every day, but if your heart wavers and your steps are uncertain, the world reads your vibration, not your voice. The world around you is not blind, it is responsive. It mirrors the energy you truly live from, not the mask you wear for others. If you say, I believe, but carry worry in your chest, hesitation in your walk, and anxiety in your decisions, then the message you're broadcasting is not one of faith, it's one of fear dressed up in hope. And hope, though it may feel good for a moment, is not the same as faith. Faith moves as if the outcome is already done. Faith walks boldly, not waiting for evidence to confirm it made the right move. You see, faith doesn't beg. It doesn't look around asking for signs. Faith decides, and from that decision it walks with confidence. When your mind and body move together in certainty, When your thoughts are clear, your emotions settled, and your actions congruent, you create momentum. And the world, being obedient to your inner state, has no choice but to comply. Things begin to shift, not because you manipulated them, but because you finally stopped contradicting yourself. Faith cannot be faked. You either have it or you don't. But the beautiful truth is this: you can grow into it. You don't need to be perfect today. You simply need to become honest with yourself. Where am I faking it? Where am I speaking one thing but believing another? When you face that honestly, you can begin the work of bringing your inner world into unity. Once your faith is real, the difference is unmistakable. You don't need to shout. You don't need to convince anyone. You carry a calm knowing. You move differently. You trust delays. You embrace the unknown because you already know how it ends. And that knowing draws your desire to you, not by force, but by resonance. So stop trying to perform faith. Instead, become it. Let your thoughts, feelings, and actions agree. Walk as if it is already done, not for the world's applause, but because within you it already is. When your whole being moves in unity with what you claim, the world has no choice but to follow. It is not fooled by your words. It is moved by your certainty. The door opens inward. This is the great secret most overlooked. They search and search, knocking on doors, asking others for the key, looking to circumstances to change so they can finally feel ready. But the truth is, the door you've been waiting to walk through does not open out into the world. It opens within you. The opportunity you're seeking, the version of you whose time has come, has never been outside your reach. It's been inside your consciousness all along, waiting not on the right time, but on your right decision. You were never meant to change. You were meant to chase. You were meant to awaken. The version of you who has the confidence, the love, the peace, the wealth, the influence, it already exists, not far away, not 10 years from now, but here in the unseen dimension of your being. The you who has arrived is not something to become, but something to remember. And remembrance happens the moment you stop looking outward and turn inward. Conditioned to believe the world grants us permission, that we must be chosen, approved or qualified by someone or something before we act. But nothing outside of you holds that power. The world simply mirrors your decision. If you do not walk in the identity of the version of yourself who already possesses what you seek, the world cannot reflect it back to you. You are the initiator, the trigger, the authority. But until you realize this, you remain outside the door knocking, when all along it was waiting for you to go within and open it. The mistake we make is trying to manipulate the external, trying to change people, chase opportunities, force timing. But this is backwards. All transformation begins at the root, and the root is within. The inner change precedes the outer result. You do not need to force reality to change. You only need to become the version of you that reality responds to. The outer door swings open the moment you open the inner one. This isn't metaphor, it's law. Your world is shaped by the self you assume, not the self you pretend to be, but the one you live as. If you constantly identify with the version of yourself who is still waiting, still striving, still doubting, then life will match that identity. But if you allow yourself, even for a moment, to step into the identity of the one who already is, then the entire story changes. Because you've changed, the you whose time has come does not wait for conditions to be perfect. They know that perfection is found in presence. That confidence is not a result, but a cause. That freedom is not found in outer validation, but in inner liberation. And when you accept this, you stop seeking the key. You realize you are the key. The door opens inward. Let that be your reminder. You are not stuck. You are not lost. You are not missing anything. You are simply standing in front of a door that can only be opened by a shift in awareness. The moment you say yes to that higher version of yourself, yes to the power, the clarity, the purpose already within, you'll feel the door give way. Not because the world changed, but because you finally gave yourself permission to walk through. The truth has always been simple. Your time begins the moment you decide it has. Not when circumstances change, but when you change, when your belief becomes unshakable, when your inner world aligns with the end you seek, when your actions reflect your assumption, not your doubts, that's when everything shifts. You cannot fake this. You must become it. The key is not an effort, but an embodiment. The door to your next level opens inward, not outward. It waits for your permission, your ownership, your full identification with the version of yourself who already lives in the fulfillment of your desire. Stop waiting for life to tell you it's your time. Act as if your time has come, and life will bow to your decision. Thank you for walking with me. Thank you for walking this path of awakening. May you remember who you are and never again wait for what is already yours. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let your thoughts still. Now ask yourself, not with words, but with silent knowing. What if I told you that everything you've ever wanted is already yours? Not because you worked hard for it, not because you earned it. You've been walking through life holding a golden ticket and never scratching the surface. You've been begging for doors to open when you were the architect of the building all along. The truth is simple. You are your lottery ticket. You are the code, the answer, the key. Not in the future, not someday, but now. The moment you feel that inner shift, the moment you believe without seeing, you've already won. The outer world is just catching up to your inner conviction. So stop waiting for the phone call. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for the numbers to align. The numbers are you. The alignment is internal. Sit in the silence and feel what it feels like to already be chosen, not by luck, but by identity. Walk into the room like the miracle already happened, because it did the moment you claimed it. The world reflects not your wishes, but your assumptions. So assume something greater. Assume wealth, assume love, assume peace, and carry yourself accordingly, not like a beggar hoping to be picked, but like the winner who already has the prize in hand. The jackpot was never a number. It was yours. It was your realization. You were the winning ticket the whole time. All that's left to do is cash in. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible realm of imagination. You don't need to earn it, chase it, or wait for someone to give you permission to have it. It is not outside of you. It never was. The moment you conceive of a desire, it is evidence that it already exists in another dimension, waiting for you to claim it, not by force, but by faith. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is creation. It is the sacred act of seeing what the eyes cannot yet see, hearing what the ears cannot yet hear, and knowing what logic cannot explain. When you close your eyes and dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are doing more than playing pretend. You are touching the substance of that desire in its truest form. The world will tell you to look outward, to strive, to compete, to grind, but the real power lies in turning within. You have been conditioned to believe that imagination is child's play, a fantasy, a waste of time, but nothing could be further from the truth. Imagination is the original source of everything you've ever called real. Every building you walk into, every book you've read, every invention that changed your life began as a vision in someone's mind. They didn't wait for proof before they believed. They believed, and the proof appeared. You are no different. The only difference between you and those you admire is that they dared to trust what they could not yet see. They lived as though their imagination was reality, and so it became real. The same power flows through you, the same breath, the same spark, the same divine intelligence. It is not reserved for the few. It is accessible to all. But only the bold use it with confidence. You must stop asking if it's possible and begin declaring that it already is. Let others wait for signs. You must become the sign. You must move through life with the quiet confidence that your inner world is the blueprint, and the outer world is simply following your instructions. Imagination is the instruction. It is the script, the template, the silent architect behind it all. It is everything you will ever experience. When you sit alone and imagine the life you want to live, you are not escaping reality. You are creating it. And the clearer your inner picture, the faster the outer world bends to match it. The only delay is your doubt, but the only block is your disbelief. But the moment you decide, truly decide, that what you imagine is real, the game changes. You no longer chase, you no longer force, you no longer hope and behave. And in that knowing, life rearranges itself. People show up, opportunities arrive, coincidences become normal. Why? Because you are no longer in resistance. You are no longer questioning the how. You are dwelling in the end where the desire is already fulfilled. And the only thing left to do is enjoy the unfolding. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. The inner creates the outer, and your imagination is not some fleeting dream. It is the seed of your new reality. Water it daily with belief. Nurture it with feeling. Protect it from doubt and watch how effortlessly it grows. Convince anyone. You do not need approval. You do not need approval. You only need to feel it real. Because once you do, the rest must follow. That is how it works. That is how it has always worked. Your imagination is not a game of chance. It is the winning number. And you already hold the ticket. The greatest mistake you can make is to seek what you already possess. And yet, that is exactly what most people are doing. Spending their lives chasing love, success, validation, and abundance, all the while carrying the seed of those very things within themselves. This world has trained you to believe that you must strive for worth, beg for approval, and chase after recognition. But the truth is, you were never meant to chase anything. You were always meant to realize what you already are. You do not chase the win. You are the win. You are the win. When you identify with lack, you chase. You chase people who reflect your insecurities. You chase achievements to prove your worth. You chase outcomes, believing that fulfillment lies somewhere outside your grasp. But when you awaken to the truth that you are the prize, the energy reverses. What once ran from you begins to find you. Why? Because you no longer operate from need. You operate from reality, knowing that you are already complete, knowing that your value is not determined by wealth, not determined by what others see, knowing that everything good flows to you, because it flows from you. You become magnetic when you stop needing and start embodying. The world cannot ignore someone who walks with quiet certainty. When you no longer beg, the right people want to stay. When you no longer try to prove yourself, you become undeniable. The most powerful presence in the room is never the one making noise. It's the one who knows they don't need to. You've spent enough time gambling with your identity, enough time trading pieces of yourself for the illusion of belonging, enough time trying to earn the love and respect that should have been yours from the beginning. You are not a commodity. You are not an option. You are the prize. The shift happens when you stop asking, how can I make them choose me? And start asking, do I choose myself? Because when you choose yourself consistently and unapologetically, life begins to mirror that choice. The people who once overlooked you will wonder where your light came from. The opportunities that once eluded you will begin to open without force. It's not magic, it's alignment. You aligned with your worth and the world had no choice but to respond. There is nothing more powerful than you. Nothing more powerful than a soul who knows its own value, not because someone told them, not because the world confirmed it, because they looked within and decided, I am enough. I am the standard. I am the reward. This isn't arrogance. This is truth. And truth doesn't need to shout. It simply is. When you rest in the awareness of your own worth, the need to chase dissolves. You become still. And from that stillness you attract. Not through effort, but through presence. Not through pursuit, but through posture. You were never meant to run after the things you desire. You were meant to become the version of yourself who already has them. That version does not chase. That version understands that everything flows toward the one who walks in wholeness. So let the world spin. Let others exhaust themselves in the pursuit. You do not need to follow. You are not the follower. You are not the seeker. You are not the gambler. You are the prize. And it's time you start living like it. Feel now what it feels like to have already won. That is not a suggestion. It is the secret. It is the key that unlocks the unseen, the silent code that reshapes your entire world. You've been told to wait until the end. You've been told to wait until the evidence appears, to hold off your joy until life proves to you that it's safe to celebrate. But that is not how the law works. The law responds to your inner state, not your outer circumstance. You do not feel fulfilled because you receive. You receive because you feel fulfilled. You must dare to feel the end before the beginning has shown up. That is how the jackpot is claimed, not by force, not by logic, not by luck, but by assumption. And not just intellectual assumption, but emotional, embodied, grounded feeling. You walk in the room already knowing it's yours. You carry the posture of someone who isn't hoping. It's already done. The world cannot withhold from the one who assumes the truth of their desire. It bends and shifts and molds itself around the individual who dares to live from the wish fulfilled. When you imagine something vividly, and then feel the thrill of it as if it were happening now, you are speaking the only language the universe understands. Faith through feeling. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to already have what I desire? Not, when will it come? Not, how do I make it happen? Just, what would it feel like if it were already true? When you get your answer, you stay there. You let that feeling wrap itself around you like a warm coat. You wear it in silence. You walk with it, sleep with it, breathe with it, until the line between imagination and reality dissolves completely. People believe they must wait for the win before they feel victorious. But life doesn't work backwards. It responds not to effort, but to identity. If you want to manifest the jackpot, be it love, abundance, peace, success, you must first assume the identity of the one who already holds it. And the fastest way to embody that identity is through feeling. Feel now what it's like to wake up in your dream home. Feel now what it's like to see the love of your life smiling at you from across the table. Feel now what it's like to open your account and see the wealth already there. Your mind may argue, your senses may protest, but you're not listening to them anymore. You're listening to the deeper reality, the one that lives in imagination, where all things begin. Do not concern yourself with appearances. Appearances are nothing more than delayed reflections of old beliefs. If you keep reacting to what is, you keep recreating it. But when you rise into the unseen realm of feeling, you step out of the loop. You interrupt the cycle. You install a new pattern. And the outer world must adjust itself accordingly. This is not denial. It is creation. You are not pretending. You are placing your attention on what is real in spirit. And spirit is the only substance that shapes matter. You don't wait to be free to feel free. You feel free. And freedom finds you. You don't wait to be chosen to feel worthy. You feel worthy. And life confirms your choice. The jackpot is not just the thing you desire. It is the state of being that says, I already have it. That state is available to you right now. In this moment, no delay, no waiting, just decision. Assume it. Feel it. Live from it. And watch how the vault opens. Not because you begged, but because you remembered who you are. And the feeling is the access. The feeling is the proof. And the feeling is the jackpot. Life is not happening to you. It is unfolding from you. You are not here to observe the world and react. You are here to create it and direct. Every event, every person, every condition you encounter is but a mirror. It reflects not the random chaos of fate, but the precise order of your inner assumptions. The world is not independent of you. It is dependent on you. It flows from your consciousness like a river flows from its source. And that source, beloved, is within. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the author of circumstances. Until you accept this truth, you will continue to live in reaction, responding to shadows, fighting illusions, blaming forces that have no true authority over you. But once you awaken, even slightly, to the knowing that life responds to your state of being, you begin to reclaim the past. And stop editing the past and start writing the future. The world has taught you to look outward, to judge your progress by the evidence you see, to believe only what the senses confirm. But senses are late. They echo yesterday's thoughts, last week's feelings, and the patterns you've long forgotten you even repeated. When you live by sight, you become a passive spectator of what already is. But when you live by vision, you become the creator of what will be. What you consistently feel, believe, and assume within yourself becomes the mold into which life must pour itself. It has no choice. It cannot disobey the command of the self. If you believe you are overlooked, life will echo that belief. If you believe you are blessed, the world will bow to that conviction. Not because it decides for you, but because you have already decided. You are the projector, not the screen. Change the real within, and the scene outside must follow. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about pretending that pain doesn't exist or dressing up fear in pretty words. It is about inner dominion. It is about understanding that no matter how strong the winds of life may blow, your internal state is the throne. And from that throne you rule. To live as the creator is to take radical responsibility. It is to say, if it is showing up in my life, it must be a reflection of something within me, known or unknown, conscious or unconscious. And this is not blame. It is power. Because if it came from you, it can be changed by you. There is no greater freedom than knowing you can alter your reality by altering your perception. And there is no greater prison than believing the world is fixed and you are at its mercy. But you are not at the mercy of anything. You are the cause, not the effect. So how do you change the outer? You go inward. You withdraw your attention from what you do not want. And you feed only the idea you wish to see made flesh. You imagine it, feel alive from it, even before it appears, especially before it appears. Because that's the essence of creation. Trusting the unseen more than the seen. Stop waiting for life to convince you it's working. You are not the audience. You are the director. The world is your stage and your beliefs are the script. If the scene displeases you, don't argue with the actors. Rewrite the lines within. And when you do, watch how effortlessly the play shifts. You are not here to observe. You are here to express. You are not here to adjust. You are here to adapt. You are here to shape. You are not here to react. You are here to create. And when you finally stop looking at the world as something outside of you and begin to recognize it as your own reflection, you'll stop trying to change it by force. You'll change it by becoming something new. Because the world does not show you what you want. It shows you what you are. And when you change who you are, the whole world must follow. The seed doesn't beg the sun to rise, nor does it plead with the soil to open. It simply rests in the truth of its nature. It knows without proof, without evidence that its unfolding is inevitable. So must you learn to do the same. When you plant the seed of desire in the fertile ground of your imagination, your only task is to rest in the knowing that it is done, to detach from how it will come, when it will come, and in what form it will arrive. You are not here to chase outcomes. You are here to trust the process. So many delay their blessings by clinging too tightly to them. They pray for something and then watch the clock. They visualize and then check the mirror, looking for signs. They declare it is done only to secretly wonder if it's working. This is not trust. This is doubt in disguise. The moment you ask, believe. And once you believe, rest. Detachment is not indifference. It is not carelessness. It is not apathy. It is sacred confidence. It is the quiet power of one who knows they are aligned with the source that never fails. You do not have to keep digging up the seed to see if it's growing. You do not have to wrestle the universe into compliance. What is yours by law is already moving toward you. The only thing that delays it is your resistance. What is resistance? It is obsession with the outcome. It is checking, waiting, doubting, fearing, needing. It is the vibration of lack disguised as spiritual practice. But when you truly know, when you embody the feeling that it is already yours, there is no need to force. You no longer ask, where is it? Because you already possess it in your spirit. You have taken it into yourself, and what you accept as true within must externalize without. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the methods. Let go of the mental chatter that says it must happen this way, by this date, or through that person. That is not your job. Your job is to accept the end, to feel the fulfillment now, and to walk in peace. When you detach from the outcome, you signal to the universe that you are complete. And when you are complete, you become magnetic. You no longer seek, you attract. You no longer strive, you receive. Not because you've abandoned the desire, but because you've merged with it so fully that it no longer feels separate from you. This is the stillness that creates worlds. This is the rest that manifests mountains. You can only do so much in action, but in consciousness, there are no limits. In consciousness, you are already there. You don't wish for it. You live in it. You don't work for it. You become it. And because you are it, you no longer need to grip it. What you grip with fear slips away. What you hold with faith comes effortlessly. You must become like the seed, certain in silence, unwavering in the dark, knowing that the sun is rising even when clouds cover the sky, knowing that the roots are forming even if no one sees. The greatest manifestations bloom not from frantic action, but from deep inner rest. And rest does not mean inaction, it means trust. It means I have done the spiritual work. I have assumed the feeling. I have accepted the truth. Now I watch it come to me. When you master detachment, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of hoping and waiting. You step into a state of being where desire and fulfillment are one. And from this place all things come, not through striving but through surrender. So stop begging the sun to rise, it already is. Stop asking when the door will open. It already has. Rest as the seed rests. Not in doubt, but in knowing. Walk as though the ground beneath your feet has already been blessed. Talk as though your voice carries the echo of answered prayers. Think with the quiet boldness of someone who knows the outcome is certain. Breathe as if the very air around you is charged with favor and fulfillment. This is how the fortunate move through life. Not because they are lucky, but because they have assumed the identity of the chosen. Fortune does not come to those who wait in desperation. It comes to those who accept its presence before it becomes visible. The world mirrors your internal state, not your external effort. When you believe yourself to be chosen, when you take on the posture of one who already possesses what they desire, the world has no choice but to align with that belief. This is the great secret. It manifests when you live from the end, not chase the beginning. So many keep their dreams at a distance by placing them in the future. They say, one day, or when I have this, I will be that. But the chosen don't wait for proof. They walk in proof. They walk in the energy of fulfillment now. Not because they are pretending, but because they understand the truth. Once you believe you are it, you become it. There is a difference between wanting and knowing. Wanting keeps you outside the gate, peering in, hoping to be invited. Knowing walks through the gate as if it's already home. You must stop waiting for permission to be blessed. You must stop behaving like a stranger to your own desires. If you have seen it in your imagination, if you have felt it as real in the sanctuary of your heart, then it is yours already. The only step left is to live like it. The way you carry yourself speaks before your words do. The way you rise from bed, the way you dress, the way you handle delays or disappointments, all of it reveals what you believe about yourself. The chosen don't crumble under delay. They don't shrink in the face of silence. They understand that delay is not denial, that what they are waiting for is already on its way because they've already claimed it within. Acting like the fortunate is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is spiritual accuracy. The universe responds not to begging, not to panic, not to striving. It responds to certainty, to calm, unshakable faith that knows what is mine cannot miss me. And so you must become the version of yourself who already has the thing, not someday, but today in your inner world, in your attitude, in your posture. You don't wait to be wealthy to feel secure. You don't wait to be loved to feel worthy. You don't wait for opportunities to feel important. You feel it now, and in feeling it now, you draw it to you without effort, because you are no longer trying to get something. You are living from having it. Everything changes when you change your concept of self. You are not just someone hoping things turn around. You are the turning point. You are not someone who might be lucky. You are the one fortune has already found. It found you the moment you believed, the moment you accepted that your inner world creates your outer world. So live like the chosen. Sit at the table in your imagination and taste the feast that's already yours. Walk as though your feet are kissed by destiny. Speak like someone who knows that heaven backs every word, because it does. You don't need signs. You are the sign. You don't need proof. You are the evidence. You don't need to wish. You only need to be. And once you become, the world will bow, not because it gave you the blessing, but because it had no choice. You claimed it first. You were never meant to wait for your miracle. You were meant to be it. You are not the one hoping to win the lottery of life. You are the lottery ticket. The winning number is not found outside of you. It is your imagination, your faith, your assumption. The prize is not the house, the car, the love, the success. It's the realization that all of it already exists within you. Yeah, you do not chase, because you are the one being chased by all that you've dared to believe. You don't ask if it's working. You assume it's already done. You don't look around, you look within, because that is where your power lies. Act like the one who already holds the fortune. Feel the thrill before the result. Walk in the fullness of your desire. Trust like the seed trusts the soil. And above all, remember the world only reflects what you've accepted as truth. So accept the truth now. You are the prize. You are the winner. You are the chosen one. Thank you for listening. And thank you for remembering who you truly are.